Since Spacies.
Oh, there we are. G'day, invaders. Welcome to Since Spacies. Are we on? Yes, we are. I've got the music kicking in the background. This goes for a little bit. It's so annoying because I feel like I've got to yell over the top of it. We are going to be introducing a new feature here on the show, on the channel. It's actually not new, but we're rebooting it because last week's didn't work. Slick. This is Spacies Spin, where we talk about some gaming topics, and I'm going to introduce to you some buffheads that have just decided to join up and talk crap, because that's what we do best. We've got Snoogs.
G'day, how are you, mate?
He's like, who, buffhead? What are you talking about? And Uncle Chunt, sir, how are you?
I am fantastic for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Steam Deck. No, not Stream Deck. How many times have I screwed that up? So Steam have announced a Steam Deck, which is, it's okay. Can we get it out of the way? It's not a Switch killer. This is not meant to be, and I don't know why the Nintendo fanboys are getting so defensive. Like, who said that you can't play Nintendo games on it? Well, actually, you can. Yeah. But it's pretty pricey. But I say it's pretty pricey. But man, you're getting a portable PC in the form factor of a Switch, twice as heavy as a Switch. But I wouldn't care. Like, who here is, so just for the record, it's not available officially in Australia. You can't pre-order it yet. Who is going to here though?
Mid next year.
Next year? Is that what you got told?
Yeah, the information was that December it is US, UK, and somewhere else. I think
Europe.
Either Europe as a whole or somewhere specifically in Europe. And then other territories was mid next year.
Right.
So whether Australia's part of that or not, I don't know. But yeah, probably not for me.
Oh, it's a no from you. Don't get out and about enough to justify having something on the go. Because let's be honest, that's the main purpose of this thing, is the portability. Don't you want to play?
Yeah.
Don't you want to play? I don't know, Fortnite on the dumpster.
No.
No.
No. I don't do handheld. I don't do public transport. If I ever go anywhere, I'm usually like 99% of the time I'm the one driving. So it just doesn't have an appeal for me.
Thank you very much there for the host there, Midnight Victoria. Appreciate it. We are looking at the Steam Deck. I'm actually looking at it now on the actual website, and just they do a good job of making you go, come buy it. Look at its shiny buttons. And then you would buy that, and about 4 or 5 months later, you just chuck it to the side. And like at first it's shiny and new, and then you just kind of disregard it over time. I do like the form factor of it. I like the button layout. There's a lot of people complaining that the buttons are too high up, but I actually think that might work. I don't think that would have been my first choice. If anything, I would have brought the buttons down lower. But I'm looking at their touch pads that they've got for the mouse, and I'm thinking there had to have been some sort of a logistical issue with getting those buttons where you'd normally have them. So they've had to just do a slight move them up. I don't think it would be that big a deal. Have you had much of a chance to look at it, Uncle Chunt?
Yeah. We talked about this for Sunday's Let's Talk Games podcast, and we discussed it at length. And look, I'm pretty impressed by it, to be honest. I didn't see this coming. I mean, I think there's room for it, and Nintendo need to kind of up their game, to be honest. I don't think it's a Switch killer, no, but I think there's plenty. Nintendo's left plenty of room for someone else to do it better. You know, like that, the specs on that thing run circles around that Switch. Like, there's no reason the Nintendo Switch needs to be the specs that it is. Yeah, you know, true. It's Nintendo always coasting on the lowest thing that they can get away with. You know, it's just what they do. But you know, I would probably, Snoogs, I agree with. Like, I don't do public transport. I don't like humans. I don't trust them to use such a thing like that outside around other humans. So I wouldn't take it for the portability of like going away and doing shit unless I was in my own hotel room or visiting family or something. But I don't actually mind just doing it at home. Like I've got a Razer Kishi thing here from my phone, so I can just remote play my Xbox while I'm watching something else. You know, if I'm grinding out on a game. So something like that. I mean, it's just this Steam Deck is a very expensive luxury item just to be like, yeah, I'm going to grind out this game. So I'll wait for the first round of people to start piling up their body bags when it fails or something, you know, before I decide on buying one, maybe at a discount later on, or if there's a version 2 down the road, if it's successful. I do hope it's successful. I really do.
Oh, I do too.
There needs to be something else. Nintendo needs someone to kind
kick
of
him in the bum.
Give him a kick in the ass and go, yeah, that Nintendo Switch Pro everybody wants, just friggin' do it, man. That would just change everything again. But yeah, I like it, really do.
Audio Sprite 87, thank you for the follow during that little session. I don't get out enough at the moment to justify. Yeah, no one's getting out. The Switch stays in its dock. I'm one of those that I don't play it in handheld mode often. I still haven't had a chance to go overseas with that and really experience. I did take it to China, but I didn't really have that many games when I first bought it. So now that I've got a fair stack of games, I'd get more out of it now. But Nintendo have been holding back on that Switch and its specs for so long now. Ever since the Switch first got announced, there was a pro rumor going around it. Oh, well, eventually we'll get a better one. We'll get a better one, and it hasn't happened. And I'm not one of those graphic halls that want the absolute best in 4K and all this crap. It doesn't bother me, but there are some games that you could get very early on in the Nintendo Switch's life that chug. They do struggle. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one of them. There are some sections where it just comes to a grinding halt. Even Breath of the Wild, like, struggles.
Broforce on the Switch. I bought Broforce for that console because I couldn't get it on Xbox, right? It's on PlayStation. So Broforce is a 2D action platformer, right? And your dude is like this big on the screen. You're not huge or anything.
Yeah.
And that has slowdown in it when there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's just a 2D game. I'm like playing this going, really? Come on, you know? Oh, I couldn't believe it.
Like, you know that some of it might be programming, not really using the system efficiently, but still. But still, I mean, if Nintendo themselves have games where it's struggling, then what hope is there for anyone else to get a decent game on that system? Like, I don't think in its current form that the Switch could run GTA 5.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it could. I mean, maybe the Xbox 360 cut down version of it, but not the GTA 5 that we all know
they've
now.
They've got Witcher 3 and Doom Eternal on it.
But they're cut down. And it's still.
It's gonna happen.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Playing Witcher 3 on a handheld device is still a cool thing to be able to do. Yeah. And I do appreciate that. But wouldn't it be nice if it was just that little bit more bumped up in the specs department? It would just, and that's where I think this comes along. It's not bound to their operating system. You can just install whatever you want to it if you should be bored enough to do so. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be bored enough to do so. Apparently, though, only 15% of the Steam library will be able to work on this thing. Is that true? Has anyone else heard this?
That's true. Really? Yeah, so I did a write-up on this before our podcast the other night. And the 15%, which is something like 7,000 games.
Just 7,000.
7,000 sounds like a good number, but when you look at it and go, there's 55,000 that can't run on it.
Yeah.
There's the issue. Now the issue is that it's run by SteamOS, which is a Linux-based system. Linux, however you want to say it. A Linux-based system, and just so many games out there aren't compatible with Linux. And if your game uses like an anti-cheat for online, so something like Destiny 2,
you're out.
It won't run on it. It won't work on it. So the whole thought, like the whole thing that you can put another operating system on it, you can put Windows on it. SteamOS does a lot of the heavy lifting in the background because the specs, while good, they're not a world beater, so you're not going to be playing them at ultra resolution. But SteamOS does a lot of the heavy lifting where if you're going to put Windows on it, how much computing power is Windows going to take, and then the Steam launcher, and then the game, and how much is going to be left over to run the game. So that's where my big question mark comes. I'd love to see, and something Luke brought up the other night was that it'd be good for someone like Digital Foundry to get their hands on it and play the same game on two systems, one running SteamOS and one running Steam through Windows, and see
you can get
where it goes.
Yeah, there was I think it was Linus Tech Tips. They were saying, at the moment you could probably just set up a virtual desktop with the specs, simulated specs and operating system that this thing has got, and get a good idea of what will run and how. So it's not like you need to wait for it. I think that there's a lot of people out there that can get a reasonable idea of ahead of and that's the beauty of this thing. It's so open that it's not like Nintendo Switch where it's got only Shigeru Miyamoto and his gang know about what the hell that thing does. So that it doesn't drift. I mean, Steam are banking their butt that it won't drift. They don't want any lawsuits.
Oh, did you hear Gabe's response when he asked about stick drift?
What?
He apparently he turned around. I haven't seen it. I've been told sort of secondhand, but apparently he turned around and he's like, "Oh, we hope it won't."
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
We hope.
Wow.
That does not inspire me in confidence.
No, that doesn't at all.
Well, maybe it's something that he hasn't really... He's been more focused on all the other aspects of it, that the controllers themselves kind of been a bit of a important thing, but not the drifting side of it. So, I don't know. It just shows that you would think, though, that with what's happening with Nintendo, that they would have looked at that at some point. God damn it. Like, that's costing them millions, Nintendo. That's why they won't talk about it, not even to their shareholders. Yeah, the only people that have got their hands on it so far, because you mentioned Digital Foundry, only IGN have got their hands on it so far. And they did a bit of a write-up on it, and they talked about how it felt like it looked weird to see the controls the way they are, but the moment you pick it up and start using it, you kind of put that to the back and you just get on with it. It's not that big. It's not a deal breaker. And I've used far worse things than that and just still managed to game out of them. So there's 3 different models. You got the 64 gigs with the iffy memory, and if you're really desperate, that's your entry point, and that's the way some people might go. Probably most people will go for the 256 gigabyte model, which is the middle of the road option, using the better SSD technology. An exclusive Steam community profile bundle. What the hell does that even mean? We'll have to wait and see. And 512 gigabyte model, which is the bee's knees version. An exclusive virtual keyboard theme. Ooh. What? Yeah. But it's the big one there is the fastest storage.
It's exclusive, damn it.
Yeah.
The fastest storage and the premium anti-glare etched glass. Okay. And an exclusive carrying case. Yep. And that bundle.
So carrying case as well.
They all come with a carrying case. That's quite interesting. You don't get that. You don't get that with the Switch. Now, what you don't get is you don't get the dock. If you wanted to, separately. That's sold separately, which is something you do get out of the box with the original Switch. So it's not exactly comparing pairs to pairs. There is a slight difference there in that regard. I would want the dock, but I don't know how much. Theoretically, any USB-C compatible cord should just do the trick.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried, man. If I bought that,
You're buying it for the purpose of portability.
Like, even the Switch is the opposite for me. Like, I couldn't care less if it got fused to the dock, because it never comes out anyway. So it's the opposite for this, where they're selling it on the fact that it's a mini PC in your hand, not the fact that it's a handheld Nintendo console that can connect to your TV. So it's marketed different already, but so I understand why they're selling it separately, so you have the option. Because then you have the argument of people going, well, why? I don't want the dock. Can you drop the price and take the dock out? That whole argument, because it's already expensive enough as it is.
But the thing is, too, is you can...
So it's going to go, and that all started with Xbox One and the Kinect. No one wanted the Kinect for that same argument. Sorry, Snoogs, you were going to say?
You can, with the dock, whatnot, you can hook up a keyboard and mouse and use it as a PC hub as well. So it's effectively a PC running on a screen.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome, man. Like, I wouldn't even be buying this for a Steam library. I'd be emulating the shit out of everything. Like all the old games on it.
Yeah.
I have a Steam library, but it's very small. I don't game on PC very much. But the fact that you can install Windows on it and you could potentially get Game Pass on it is what is appealing to me as an Xbox guy, obviously. Where it's like, holy shit, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for PC. Just right in your hands, right here. And it's all running locally. It's not streamed from a console or a cloud. That is very appealing to me, where I'm going, God damn it, Microsoft. Make one of your own, man. Because if they released one of their own, and I had access to my entire Xbox library, I've got 500 or 600 games or some shit in my library on Xbox. If they released a handheld version of that could run all of that stuff, man. I would be one of those people that would buy that shit. I'm making do with one of these,
I've always wanted a portable Xbox. I don't see it happening, because I think Xbox don't want to bother with the R&D on the hardware for it. They just want to focus everyone moving over to mobile phones and portable controllers, like the one you mentioned.
Cloud is.
I don't even have one plugged in anymore.
What, Xbox?
No, that's my Cyberpunk Xbox that can't run Cyberpunk.
Oh dear.
Oops.
Yeah.
It's like technicality.
That one, and I've got a Minecraft one out in the lounge room, which is usually plugged in. It's just not at the moment.
That one looks cool, though, man. Like,
this one does look sick, and it looks really nice, just sitting there on my desk doing nothing.
Yeah. Good paperweight.
So
pretty much.
So, bottom line is, we are excited about this thing. We are excited about this thing, but we're probably not going to be all lining up for it or tripping over each other to get this.
Nah, wait for the front line.
No.
Maybe down the track. When we start traveling again, I might have another look at it and go, maybe, but not until.
Yeah, so I do travel for work, and I do a lot. Like I do quite a few sort of 12, 14 hours worth of driving in a day, going out west and up in the northwest of the state. But even then, it's I don't know. I'm just not a big portable gamer. I don't see the big value in it.
Do you know what? You mentioned you're not a big portable gamer. I can't focus on a game on the train. There's that self-preservation thing going on with me.
Yep.
I don't want to be in the zone or whatever it is I'm doing and then have some clown bump me or hit me or whatever. I like to know what's going on around me, especially it's just that, primal instincts or something kicking in. So yeah, that's just me.
And you're not even coming from Western Sydney.
No, the Shire. By the way, Nirufumai, thank you for joining in. Good to see you on. And Emerald Rangers was saying earlier that he's not going to be able to play his porn games on it. Oh, well, I think he would be able to, actually. But anyway.
It is, mate.
What, could you imagine? Yeah, because, okay, Switch is such a sheltered...
Sitting on the train with it.
That's what I was just going to say. Switch is such a sheltered system that you don't get really that many of those kind of games. But if you got Steam, and what was that game that Lucas was talking about? You got something like that running where you actually got shagging going on and all sorts of things.
Hell yeah, man.
Lust from Beyond for those playing along at home.
Since Spacies.